Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. No, it's not NXT. No, it's not wrestling. It's Full Press Hockey Weekly here on a Tuesday night. I'm your host, Jim Biringer, back alongside my co host, Chris. It's been a while, buddy.
It feels like it's been forever, or since April. One or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, I think one or the other. But quick shout out to our boy, Mike. Uh, we just want to wish him the best in his recovery. Hope they can find out what's going on with his voice so we can get him back on here soon and producing. And shout out to Ian, who's producing tonight for us. You can find the Full Press Hockey Weekly show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify when it goes to the audio version. So, again, thanks for everybody for tuning in tonight. We got a lot to discuss. News of the day. The biggest news of the day is the NHL Draft Lottery, Chris.
Yeah, the ping pong balls were rolling along, and well, they came up. Well, for one team, they came out bad as usual.
Yeah.
For another team, they came out kind of as expected, and then there was a third team that kind of hopped in and almost stole the whole show.
Are we talking about? We're talking about those New Jersey Devils who won the draft lottery again. However, they didn't get the first overall pick. No, 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 no. It was the
Mm-mm.
Montreal Canadiens getting the first overall pick, second year in a row. The team with the worst record in the league gets the number one pick, and it'll be the first time in 37 years that a team hosting the draft has the number one overall pick.
Pretty crazy when you think about it. It's been a long time since that's happened. Now,
I'm a
the question, of course, now becomes, what kind of draft is it going to be with everything that's going on with COVID and such? Because it's the never-ending saga. But here's the thing. Obviously, Jim's going to like this one. So you have Montreal 1, New Jersey 2, Arizona 3. So Arizona doesn't get its number one pick to play in the in and out arena. I'm now that's what I'm going to call it from. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if they can replicate like late night like Rathskeller food like Montclair State University, I have no problem with it. I know most people do. I don't care. But again, the important thing is, we now have a draft order. We have a pretty good idea who Montreal is going to take. After that, there's still a little bit of debate up in the air as to what's going to happen at 2 and beyond, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, we know Devils
Sure, where it's
general
going.
manager Tom Fitzgerald said openly during his press conference last week that he was, open to move the pick. Now, I don't know how open he's going to be to move this pick now that it's two. Maybe if it's lower down, he might be able to move it. But we know for a fact Chicago does not have a first round pick as it went to Columbus because they weren't top two. Vegas pick goes to Buffalo. Buffalo has two picks in this draft as well. So in the first round, so you gotta wonder with guys, in play for Chicago, you almost wonder if Chicago can, sneak back into this first round and maybe the Devils can get a playmaker they can use now from Chicago as an option.
It's possible. Now, is it likely as of this moment? No.
No.
Because look, Chicago's got enough things going on, and things are in flux with their management structure, and inevitably what will become their coaching structure. So, with how fluid they are, unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait. I mean, and no one wants to hear that. Obviously, I mean, there's still 2 months till the draft,
Right,
which is
legit. two
crazy,
months to the
right?
draft. Yeah, it's
I know
legit.
it feels like, wait a minute, shouldn't this thing be next week or something? And no, that's not how it works. I mean, for those wondering, the NBA draft this year is taking place earlier than the NHL draft.
That's a
So
first. Isn't the
that's a first
NBA
and a
season ending before the NHL season? That's usually
yeah.
a first. That's a first too.
I mean, look, we're next week the conference finals start in the
For the
NBA,
NBA, yeah.
more than likely. Um, we're still in round one.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll be looking at round two next week, most likely start of
Right,
round two.
right. So it's not horrible. We're a
No,
few weeks behind,
yeah. But I
but that's
mean,
going to throw everyone off.
oh, seriously, it is. I mean, look, the Devils, whoever they get it to, whether it's Slavkovsky, Cooley, whoever Arizona takes, they're gonna get a good
Please take
player.
Kelsey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Unless Fitzgerald does the Penguins thing and just decides to draft centers and build around them. But it's interesting to see where teams fell in this thing. Once I saw the Flyers drop, I was like, really, the Devils are gonna win this thing again? I'm like, they're really gonna win this thing again. But I'm kind of glad. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I'm kind of glad Montreal got the first overall pick, considering what they went through this year with all the injuries to Price and Weber, and it's at their place. And I think they needed. I think the fact is that we joke in the conspiracy theories around the '06 team, and they didn't get Lafreniere, the French kid. They're gonna get a good player in Shane Wright.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how Montreal has to look at this. They're going to be able to rebuild that team. It's going to take a long, long time, obviously. And we don't know. We don't even know what's going to go on with Carey Price per se. There's no like sort of set thing that Carey Price is going to play a full season next year, or is he going to play at all? I don't know. I really
Nobody
don't.
knows.
And if anybody knows, and hey, you got the Powerball numbers or the Mega Million numbers for this week, send them right over.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
unless you're bidding on Rich Strike that paid out 80 to 1, um, yeah, I just send those lottery numbers my way because if though apparently and I gotta say my buddy Jake sent me when we were talking on the phone. He said somebody on Reddit put out Montreal 1, New Jersey 2.
that's
So
I believe it though, as crazy as it sounds, because this is not the world that most people are used to, and things are. Look, we've seen it in other sports the past few days. I mean, Jokic wins the NBA MVP, and it's announced way before it was supposed to be. I
yeah,
mean, you know, the leaks are immense. I mean, we joke about doing like the bad like Disney like Mona like here leaky, but
yeah,
unfortunately, this is the reality of a. I don't know if Jim. I don't even know if you want to call this a post-COVID world because it's still technically not, but
right.
it's the realities of what has happened because of COVID. Everybody is trying to be first so hard that you don't know if it's right, but when the leak is on the money, you just kind of like pause and just go,
Yeah.
that could have waited.
Yeah, I mean, it could have waited. I mean, like especially with something like the draft lottery, like this whole NHL draft. Like last year, what was it? The big thing was like draft picks were getting leaked left and right. It's like, all right, like why? Like the whole point is watching the draft is so we know who goes where. But I mean, look,
Yep.
it's exciting TV. I don't know, people definitely watched it. It was cool. You get to see it. But people are focusing on the playoffs, which we'll get to in a little bit. But you know what? It's good for New Jersey. They're doing the rebuild the right way, but they have to take the next step forward after selecting this player. It's no more about what. Okay, we just missed out. This, that, and the other thing. They have to take the next step with the player that they select, and they've been doing a great job with that through their prior drafts. And a lot of teams have. And you know what? Some teams like Buffalo, who have 2 picks, they're doing things the right way. And that team, Mike is definitely gonna like this. But this Buffalo team's up and coming, and I like the way they finished the season this year.
Ironically, all they need is a
Goaltending.
goaltender.
Yeah.
And the offense is pretty good. The defense is slowly improving, and special teams are started to show some signs. I mean, look, they climbed out of the bottom third in special teams since the All-Star break, and that's a big deal for a Buffalo team that normally is literally staple gun to the bottom of the league when it comes to special teams, and that's important. And of
Yeah.
course, you know, I mean, obviously next year with Buffalo, as we all know, there won't be Rick John anymore. Okay,
No.
little bit of a sad
Yeah,
moment
that's a
there,
little bit
but
of a sad
but
thing. Yeah.
but you know what? They're in way better hands than they were, say, 5, 10 years ago.
Absolutely, 100%. And a team that's going to be picking 13th, the New York Islanders, you know, they couldn't leave well enough alone. They had to make news yesterday before all these big game fours. And Lou Lamoriello, our buddy, we know him real well. If you're a Devils fan, you know what he is. And for those that are in the inside, know him even better. Makes a head scratching decision and shocked the hockey world when he announced that head coach Barry Trotz was relieved of his duties. And I don't know if you were as shocked as I was, but
Oof.
I was like, wait, what did they just do?
You're look. I'll put it to you this way. I heard it maybe a little bit after 9:30, a little bit before it came out. Just slight rumblings, and I'm like, wait, hold on. Let me put my breakfast down for a second. You say what?
Yeah.
And that sort of stunned reaction when the source I talked to came back to me and said this is not a joke. You just knew. There's just that sinking feeling like, oh God, this guy's probably right. And then, sure enough, not even a minute later is when Stape and the guys from the Islanders media and NHL.com and Brian Compton and everybody started to break that this was indeed going down. This was a event that was actually taking place. I mean, you have to call it an event in the sense that nobody saw this coming.
Nobody. Nobody saw this coming. And, people say, oh, well, he had a year left on his contract. They didn't want to go through the same situation that Washington did when Barry Trotz's contract expired, when they won the Stanley Cup. But he took the New York Islanders to 3 playoff appearances, 4 years, back-to-back NHL semifinals. They lost to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, Tampa Bay, 1 year in 6 games, 1 year in 7 games.
Mm.
Barry Trotz, yes, the style wears on players. I get it. But, and it's hard to do over 82 games. But this team was improving in the second half of the year. If they had won some games earlier on and down the stretch, they might have been back in the playoffs again and potentially making another run. But a lot of people question the decisions of of Lou Lamoriello because of the moves to sign Zdeno Chara and Zach Parise, which I've been told by several people that Barry Trotz were not a fan of.
Well, and could you blame him?
No, you can't. No.
That to me, I mean, look, Chara by itself, not horrible. Parisi by itself,
Not bad.
not that bad. Both of them together, no, just no.
No. Yeah.
I mean, we joke about this from like sort of like the miscreant sort of like 8 to 10 year old kid, but for those listening, that was the Islanders fan base in a nutshell, pretty much for the most part, and you can't blame them one iota for what happened.
No, you can't. No, and another head scratcher was the Palmieri deal, 4 years at $5 million a season. People tell me, oh, he would have got that money elsewhere. I don't know if a team would have gave him 4 years.
It was a risk. I heard 3 and 15 a lot,
That I would have been okay with that.
but that fourth year is. I mean, look, Palmieri's 30 now, obviously,
Yeah.
but given the struggles, given all the crazy things that happened during the season with this team, none of this made sense.
No, it didn't. And and the fact that and you listened to it probably like I did and saw the stuff that came out. He said it was his decision. Nobody else, I think, except ownership knew about it. He said that he believed the room needed a new voice. He said it's a hockey decision. Uh, he said the contract didn't play into a factor into it. Look, if that's really the case, this move should have been made after the season was over, not a week later, which tells me that he took and listened to the players, especially a top star there, and decided to make a change. Because if it was truly a hockey decision and he felt the group needed a new voice, he would have done it last week.
It's true. It's 100% true. And I mean, we can call it for who it is and
Yeah.
players that probably had a role in this or a certain first line center. And look, call people have to just go, okay, take certain players to task for what happened here and go with it. Now, is that going to happen? No.
No.
But should it? Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason why whatever Barry Trotz didn't do, that none of that matters. If you were Jim's 100% right. If you're going to make this move needed to be made at least last week, at the very minimum, or right after the regular season ends. If it's that bad and the room is supposedly that toxic, why'd you wait? Obviously there's the ripple effects. Mitch Korn is about to go, is going to obviously go with wherever Barry Trotz is going.
Yeah.
So, there's that. There's an interesting kind of side plot to this too, Jim.
Yeah.
Could Corey Schneider be back in the NHL next year as a backup to Sorokin?
I mean, it's possibility for sure. He could be.
There's some rumors floating around. Look, I watched Schneider a couple of those playoff games, especially a certain one where he made 46 saves, and came to the conclusion that it makes you wonder a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
It's like maybe unlike a certain athletic writer named Miss Silverman, who said that he didn't have surgery even though he did. Yeah, that's right. We're calling you out because this is something that's been bothering me for about 3 years. So I figure we'll air some grievances while we're at it.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of thing we're talking about here. No one likes to hear the cold reality of what the Islanders are going through right now. And where this is going to go, I tell you one thing. I would not want to be Lou Lamoriello right now.
No,
I really wouldn't, because I could tell you from everything that we've heard so far, and this is early on, didn't seem like John Ledecky was too happy in this process. That's for sure. I mean, yeah, signed off on it, sure, but man, you got to produce now.
You really do, and it's all on Lamoriello now. Every move that he makes is on him. It's everything he does is on him. And I said this yesterday, and I'll continue to say it. He's making the same mistakes he made towards the end of his tenure with the Devils. He's continuing to rely on aging veterans. The Islanders are the oldest team in the league. You could clearly see it when they played younger teams that they couldn't keep up. And to get rid of a guy like Barry Trotz, I don't know. Look, you got to take the facade aside of Lou Lamoriello and the mystique around him and what he did. That was pre-lockout, 04-05 lockout, before the salary cap. The Devils, you and I both know everything fell right for New Jersey to make the Stanley Cup final in 2012.
Yeah, I mean, every single possible... People have to realize that just for them to get to the Stanley Cup final, and granted, what happened in the final was a bit of a raw deal.
Right, yeah.
But you got to... Look, they were dead to rights after Game 5.
Against Florida.
Round.
Yeah.
Against Florida. They probably should have lost Game 6 at home. Zajac saves the day. Game 7, they probably should have lost at least 2 or 3 times in the first overtime. People forget this. And then Henrique obviously turns around and fires the shot that, the first Henrique gets over, which I think may have been arguably more significant than the second. It's just not iconic because of the moment. But Then you have the second round for the people that forget, and that was the infamous let them score first series, not let you score first, but let them score first,
Yeah.
because this was what that whole entire playoff season. The best way to describe it is this: drunk.
Yeah, it really was.
You had obviously you had the Battle of Pennsylvania where every game went over and crazily over until game 5. Then the teams found a defense for one game, and then
And then,
game 6 was absolutely zany and like the other 4. Every sort of first round matchup had this weird like full moon sense, and then it just snowballed from there. It never really slowed down.
no.
Obviously, LA went on the run it did.
But like you said, you had the Battle of Pennsylvania in the first round, and the Devils match up with the Flyers, a tired Flyers team that just like literally beat the crap out of Pittsburgh for 6
Yep.
games. And if not for game 1, the Devils probably would have swept Philadelphia out of the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. People forget that the Devils probably should have won game 1,
Right. And you look at that, but
but they
outside of
scored
that,
first.
yeah, they did. And but outside of that, they had missed the playoffs. Like, they at towards the end they missed the playoffs. Like after
Yeah.
that, they missed the playoffs. They relied on aging veterans outside of Yager, who was like is 100, and they didn't still
Yeah.
make the playoffs. And they just relied on aging veterans and got
It
older.
just
So
kept snowballing.
exactly, it did. He's never been like. Look, I understand you got to critique the coach, and the coach has to go, but it just proves my point even more. And from what I heard, that it was a committee in Toronto, not Lou Lamoriello running the show.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. And Lou don't. It's like the old Homie the Clown reference. Homie, don't play that. Well,
Yeah.
Lou don't play that. It never has, never will. He kind of tried to play nice for a little while, but you knew that the first chance he got, he was bolting. So yeah, look, obviously not the only. Obviously, not the only story. Like we said, there's a lot to get to. There's something called
The Stanley Cup
playoffs.
playoffs. Yo, playoffs?
Playoffs.
You kidding me? Playoffs? Yo, I wish
Playoffs.
we could have had some sound bites like with Austin. What? Like when you were saying
What?
that. What?
It's
Playoffs? You kidding me?
but
Playoffs?
but
We're
I
just
mean,
trying to win a game.
I know, right? But I mean, we got some good liners and some not so good ones. I mean, the best one I heard on Twitter is you can't spell racist without rat. That was pretty good.
Were you talking
Uh,
about Tony D'Angelo?
yeah, Tony D'Angelo and
Yeah.
Brad Marchand. That was
Yeah.
that was that was a pretty good one.
That's a good one.
Um, there was some real gems. Obviously, like we said, even with this playoffs so far, we've had gem. This is it. This is how many overtime games we've had so far.
2. Yeah, I was thinking about the other day. Today. I was like, wait, we only had 2 overtime games,
And we
and one
haven't
was a
really had that many close games either.
and one was triple overtime.
So that was the gem of gems.
That was a gem of gems, and I think whoever was going to win that triple overtime game, when I thinking that night, I was like, whoever's winning this game is winning this series now. Like the momentum and the air will just be taken out of the other team, and obviously Pittsburgh is put on the Jets, and Sidney Crosby is still one of the best players in the league, and he can lift his team. And the Penguins are, rallying around Louis Domingue and not allowing the Rangers to get any momentum going right now, and are able to clog up that neutral zone, Devils style. But the Rangers defense has been cheating, and their underlying numbers are finally coming to fruition. And you've been saying pretty much all year, like they've been outperforming their underlying defensive numbers. I think Chris just got frozen. But the big thing is like in that Rangers series, it's Crosby's just playing so well, and the fact that Louis Domingue comes in game 1 and is still going strong. And he's like, somebody asked him about a summer. I think it was Emily Kaplan on ESPN asked him the other night about maybe putting that spicy pork and broccoli in a cookbook. He's like, nah, I'll be working. I'm playing goalie this summer, so don't worry. I got no time for that. So, but Pittsburgh and the Rangers have been an entertaining series to the fact that it's Pittsburgh has found their game, something they hadn't done in the regular season against this Rangers team, and you could see throughout, especially these Eastern Conference series with like the Floridas, the Tampas, and that series with Washington, the teams that have been here before, the veteran players that have been in the playoff before, you know how to play defense, are outperforming the teams that haven't been here before, that are new to the playoffs. Yes, they have veteran players that have been there before, but in recent time, these teams have been there before. And speaking of a team, we Chris said it before, the Florida Panthers. Zajac saved the Devils season back in 2012 in a game 6. Well, Carter Verhaeghe just saved the Florida Panthers season in game 4 in overtime because of what he did, um, with his 2 goals, and he ended it. If they were dead to rights late and they were able to tie the game, and then in overtime, boom. So, um, um, so one of the series I'm trying to see if we're gonna finally see some defense is the St. Louis Blues and Minnesota Wild. We're game 5 goes tonight back in Minnesota, and it's been a high scoring affair that the over's been hitting outside of one game. So you know St. Louis makes the goalie change to Jordan Binnington. It's the right decision. It had to be made. Husso is not playing well, and then they come in. They're playing without 4 defensemen now going into Game 5. They didn't have 3 in Game 4. Ryan O'Reilly, David Perron continue to play well, and absolutely the ringmaster has taken over full press hockey. About time. I get the airtime myself, but no, shout out to everybody. Hope Chris can get back in here. We're having a good conversation. But I appreciate Amanda for the shout out for the ringmaster. If we can get that up there, that would be great. Where was it? Oh yeah. So I'm saying, so I was looking at the Blues and Wild tonight, and I hope maybe we finally get a defensive game. But that series has been really entertaining. If you haven't been able to check it out, it's been really good. Both teams have been able to put up crooked numbers, and it's like a trend that's continued from the regular season, that the scoring is up, defense is a little down, but the only low scoring series have been Calgary and Dallas, and Calgary finally was able to put up a crooked number on the Dallas Stars in Game 4, and Johnny Gaudreau was a man on a mission. That top line looks so good for Calgary, but again, Jake Ottinger, give this kid some credit for what he's done in the playoffs this year. I mean, if Dallas is going to make a run, it's going to be goaltending. I mean, Ottinger played in 2 playoff games, but before he played in a Stanley Cup final game before he played in a regular season game. Think about that, and he's continued this trend of these rookie goalies coming in and playing really well. And that series goes back to Calgary. Is this what they needed? Can Calgary finally turn it around? Is Daryl Sutter finally happy with what his team has been doing? Because before that, it seemed like they wanted to muck it up too much. That's not the Flames style. That's not Daryl Sutter's style. I like what they did in Game 4. Is this the breakthrough they needed against Ottinger? Because you got to admit he was probably in the Flames' head, especially the top goal scorers, because the same issues would have come up in regards to, if the Flames lost this game. Where are the top performers? How come they're not scoring? Is the goalie in their head? Similar to what Dallas did against Vegas. Similar to what Carey Price did against Vegas. So, if you can get a hot goalie, that's going to stop a good offense. But let's see if the Flames can turn some things around here. I know Carolina. It's been the battle of the home teams in the Carolina-Boston series right now. I mean, Carolina up 2-0 late in the second period. Boston held serve in games 3 and 4. But now Carolina on home ice. Somebody's got to win a road game in this one to win the series. So unless they bring it back for 7. But you know what? You got to like the way Boston's been playing. I personally believe, and probably Ian, if he wants to chime in on this one, he can. I think if Cassidy makes the goalie switch in Game 2, think the Bruins. I think the Bruins would have. one game too if Swayman's in net.
Well, I will say this, and welcome back real quick, Chris, and I'll let you guys talk because I will have to edit myself. I'm in the middle of drafting my letter to NHL Referees Association because
Uh-oh.
it's just been awfully one-sided in this game, and now the Bruins, unfortunately, find themselves down 3-0. So it's quite upsetting. It's quite upsetting.
Find the level of upsetness that you may feel. It's like 1 or 2, better or worse.
Can I go to 10?
You can go to 10 in this case.
I'll go to 10. I'll go to 10.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck happened there. That was weird. It's like it said I had a perfect internet connection, and
you were not there because I threw it to you.
Yeah, it was
and then
complete
you were not there, and then you were not there.
It was like complete Twilight Zone. It's like I could see like everybody, and then I couldn't see anything. It was
I mean, I did as best I could because I tried to hold the show together as best I could.
You did. You tried hard.
I know, right? I know. I finally got airtime. You know,
I got
my mug. I got my mug in front of the camera more than Mike did.
I could sense your better half about to make a presence. Even I could see the
there
little,
it is, the ringmaster.
Yeah,
I can
see
exactly.
I can see the little
there
icon.
she is.
We're all in trouble now.
Yeah, my better half has definitely made a presence.
It's always good.
But I don't know if you wanted to chime in for what I was saying. You know, looking at like some of these series, especially with the Rangers, the big thing I said to you was their underlying numbers. They've been outperforming them the whole season, and they finally caught up to them, I think, in this postseason.
That was the concern that I had going into the first round. But like I'd even said to you, and I had said this to Mike, I figured for one round they could figure this out. I mean, it's not that hard. And then you get the Christmas present of Christmas presents. And no Tristan Jarry first off. Then obviously Casey DeSmith gets hurt. He's out for the entire. You get Louis freaking Domingue. Let's put this in some kind of context and perspective here. Domingue is an AHL caliber goaltender at this stage of the game. He is.
But doesn't he have a Stanley Cup to his name?
Yeah, I mean, he rode sort of sideways shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, he did. I mean,
but he does have. I mean, I guess you have to put it in there that he does have one Stanley Cup. It has to be acknowledged. At the same time, some guy named Sid has a couple, a few of them.
He has a few. Malkin's got a few.
And look, I loved hearing this, how that the Rangers were not afraid of Sidney Crosby, and their defensive pairing was not intimidated going up against him. And then Crosby's line has 6 goals like in the first 3 games. Like nothing.
It's ridiculous. But playoff Jake Getzel showed up.
Well, look, if you sat there and you looked through certain things and that we may bet on or not bet on this show, like the Jake Gensel anytime goal, which has been
that's a lock. That's a lock.
How that's not negative numbers at this point, I don't know.
That's a guarantee every time.
But I mean, this Rangers team cannot stop that line.
No, they can't.
They can't. And what's worse is because they've tried so hard to stop that line.
Everybody else is beating them.
Here comes the depth scoring. I mean, it came in waves last night.
The waves. It came in waves the last 2 games.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, look, may not like Larry Brooks as a person, but he did aptly call this the double debacle in Pittsburgh, and
it's true.
It was in every way, and it shows. And we can say this because Mike's not here. Gerard Gallant's not winning Coach of the Year because of this. Sorry, I'm going there.
I mean, I think the guy in Pittsburgh might be winning Coach of the Year.
I mean, look, I know the voting is done at the end of the regular season, but we had said this all along. There was a problem here. You knew there was a problem.
I mean, especially when you lose a guy like Lindgren and you lose Goudreau. Like that's definitely hurts them for
You're
sure.
you're losing some glue guys, but you figured like, oh, Kopp was playing well, Vetrano was playing well. You still had enough depth that you figured you could go toe to toe with Pittsburgh. You could score some goals. And early on, that's
They
just what
did.
happened. But what did transpire in Pittsburgh just is it's yeah, some of it was unlucky, but a lot of it is just the fact that things caught up to the Rangers. And you could say that about a couple teams that's kind of happened to early on in these playoffs, where it's like, gee, it's the playoffs. It suddenly is not so easy.
Well, I mean, perfect example of that is Florida. Yeah, they had a comeback victory against Washington in Game 4 in overtime.
Oof,
And
but
as
that
I
was
said to
close.
you, and I'll repeat myself, but you said Zajac saved the Devils season in 2012. Well, Carter Verhaeghe saved the Florida Panthers season in Game
Should
4.
have been over.
Should have been
It
over.
should have been over. I mean, look, Washington had their chances, and look, I'll say this too. We've hammered some guy named Bobrovsky a few times on this show,
Rightfully so.
and rightfully so. But you know what? Also saved Florida season last night,
Bobrovsky.
especially early.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
people,
I think he stopped Johansson on a breakaway too late in the game.
and then made that one save late. I mean, look, did did Washington have a ton of shots? No, I understand that, but it seemed like almost every shot was a freaking good scoring chance for them.
Holy Toledo. John Tavares has got his first
What?
playoff goal since 2019.
Well, who let him surface?
I guess they did.
Well, you know what? It's on the power play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It
why.
might be Nylander's goal. No, Tavares got it.
Tavares got
did.
that.
Yeah, Tavares got that. It's his first goal since 2019 in the playoffs. Granted, last year he was hurt, but I don't count the qualifying round in 2020. I don't count that.
No, I get it. Well, now this game's gotten a lot more. Okay, now, Jim, we can sit. The over is back in play. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, over's back in play at Tampa, Toronto. But as I was making a point earlier, like these teams that have been to the playoffs before, and have made deep runs, have been outperforming the teams that this may be their first time there, or they haven't been there in a while. Yeah, we know Florida's been there, but they haven't been able to win since 1996. They haven't won a playoff series since then. The pressure you can clearly see is palpable. Same with this Toronto-Tampa series. Ian and I were saying this before we came on. You can't give a team like Tampa a gimme game like you gave them in Game 4.
No, you can't. I mean, look, granted, everybody knows that freaking history. I get it. What's lost in that, though, is that in those games, Tampa has scored about 5 goals a game.
Right.
This team bounces back. What is the first thing you do? You give up 2 goals like in that.
Yeah.
I mean, you just sold yourself right down. You're done at that point. I mean, and that game snowballed so fast that you could turn it off like within
in the first period.
Yeah, you really. Yeah.
It was over in the first period.
It was over. It was just over, and people were like, oh well, wouldn't you thought they would have come back?
No, because it's Tampa and that's it, and you just give them a gimme. Now Game 5 is not over, and there's still a long way to go.
Oh, this is going to be a long
series.
If there's a game that goes overtime, this is it.
Right, exactly, and we said there was 2. There has been 3 overtime games in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, that's true. There's 3. Yeah.
Colorado, Nashville.
You forget
Game 2.
That's like the one that you just forget about, though.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you forget that game went to overtime.
Basically, Connor Ingram was the reason why the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, look. Colorado's off to the second round. No surprise there. I mean, Daryl Sutter said it's a waste of 8 days. I don't think it would have been a waste of 8 days if UC Saros was playing in that series before he got hurt. I think Nashville might have been able to snag 2 games from Colorado. but Colorado was still going to win. But you got to give the kid, like I said on Twitter, you got to give that kid, props for what he did in this series. To come in game 2 and play the way he did. And yeah, Preds fans are going to point to the goaltender interference call in game 4. I get it. That's a hot topic of debate, and maybe that's something when Mike's feeling better he can do on Mike Saves Hockey, or we could talk about it next week, because
what constitutes goaltender interference?
It's seriously, because nobody really
Nobody
knows.
knows.
Nobody knows. The players don't know. The former goalies don't know. The goalies don't know, and the officials on the ice and in TV don't know.
I still love this. It's a quote from maybe 10 years ago. Billy Smith, I don't know what's goalie interference, and I played in the league for more than a decade. And he just dropped the mic. That was it. That was it.
Because it was funny. I was doing a little research the other day just for fun, because I wanted to see what the rule was. Because everybody talks about contact and this and incidental contact. Because they talked about incidental contact on the Jake DeBrusk goal and everything. And you look at the rule book, that goal, even though it counted, the rule book states it shouldn't have counted. I know our producer's not going to be happy with it. But according to the rule book, the way it's written,
I can feel the tingling in my neck, and
I know, right?
Ooh, that's something burning there?
Yeah, exactly. But if you read the rule book and what Rule 69.1 says, and so on, a lot of the stuff they have let go should have been, not called a goal.
Crazy, right?
Seriously, it really is. It's really crazy. But anything else stand out to you this playoff season? I mean, I talked about the goal scoring, the high goal scoring rate from the regular season carrying over into the playoffs. A lot of crooked numbers we've been seeing.
Yeah, I mean, look at Saturday. How often does the Grand Slam over hit in the playoffs?
It normally doesn't.
Now, for those that don't know, in the betting world, there's what they call the Grand Salami, which is different. That's just home goals compared to away goals, and you bet basically based on the total amount of goals. What we call the Grand Slam over or under is taking all 4 overs or all 4 unders in a night. Usually, most nights there were 4 games. In the old days, sometimes there would be
5 games. Yeah.
And then that was the quint, which was just nuts. If you hit that, you just walk off, and take your winnings.
Take your money and just never do it again.
But special shout out obviously to Kyle, who has entered the chat. But
via YouTube, you can find us there.
Naturally, of course. But that Grand Slam paid out plus 850, Jim. That's how much it had built up. So I mean, you know what? I wish I put more than $20 on it, to be honest. I just sat there and just like I'll just toss like some pizza money on it.
Yeah.
And and it's kind of what people have asked. It's like, well, how do you bet the playoffs? And it's something that we figure we could get into while there's intermissions and stuff.
Right.
I bet very modestly. I do not bet like I do during the regular season at all. I don't go nuts. I don't go and sit there and put like $100 on a team to win, ever.
No, not in the playoffs.
No, you can't.
Especially this year.
And okay, here is something I did. So I don't want Ranger fans to get any madder at me than they already are.
They're already mad at you, so it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
That doesn't matter.
I truthfully have done the following, Jim, and you're going to appreciate this. Since they won in game 1, I actually bet 1 unit on the Rangers to win and 2 units on the over to hit. Now, that's not the over. That's the 60-minute over. Now,
not the overtime over.
Right. Now, when you bet the 60-minute over, obviously it's more risk. So you get probably about maybe 20 to 40 cents more on the dollar.
Right. So you had a push in game 1.
You had a push in game 1, and then obviously, everything else hit.
Right.
So you take the risk. Now the good thing about that push was I didn't lose any money.
No, because it was a push, and then the overhit after 60 minutes.
But damn, would it have been nice to hit that one too.
Well,
But,
I mean, look, it might have, it should, you know.
well, this made up for the fact that I took an absolute bath early in the
Yeah.
Dallas Calgary series. So
Well, I mean, it was all unders, so.
yeah, I mean, at least that saved me. But the actual like even like some of the props and stuff weren't hitting early.
No.
Now they are. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously 89 shots combined in game 4.
I mean, Jake Ottinger has stole that series, right? Is the reason why it's 2-2.
Yeah, for those that don't know, and sometimes why you have to sit there and take your humble pie in the playoffs as a better and a quote unquote expert or writer. It's not that Jake Ottinger has been so great in the playoffs. He's actually been above and beyond that. Now, think about this for those that don't know. Ottinger actually had it almost downright pedestrian save percentage at home this season. Now, some of that was because of circumstances beyond his control. You know, you had kind of like a 1A, 1B, 1B, 1A sort of
1C kind of thing going.
Yeah, sort of thing going on in the early part of the season. 2, Rick Bowness is coaching that team.
Yeah,
Which
well.
I get every fan's frustration. That look, I understand. But what happened last night, and I argue he really only gave up, you gave up one less goal because that Gaudreau goal was pure luck.
Oh.
I mean, that's one of those, it's like, yeah, it's great for Johnny Hockey, but wow, did you luck out. I
Yeah,
mean,
he really did.
It's just one of those, it's like you truthfully got a lucky bounce. And he knew it. And you know what?
That's what the goal scorers need, though.
Give Gaudreau every ounce of credit, though, because he basically said it so much after the game. He's like, look, I got a break. And I know I did. I was like, because he stole me on a better chance than,
Earlier in the game. And
earlier, too.
And he stoned him in game 3 late, or else that game would have gone overtime.
People do not realize that Calgary, yes, has gotten out of what they were sucked into the first 2 games. But I'm going to tell you this. Who's not to say that they don't get sucked in game 5?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Is like they were able to put up that 4 spot in game 4. Is that what they needed to get this offense going and potentially carry it over into game 5? Because I think if they can get away, especially if Matthew Tkachuk can get away from the stupid stuff that he's been doing with John Klingberg and get back to playing hockey, I think the Flames will be fine.
Yeah, but anyway, for those that aren't watching, here we go again with Toronto.
On the power play?
On the power play again. It's John Tavares scoring alert.
Or Matthews or Marner, one of those
somebody,
two.
Right?
Is this game 5 right here with them 2-1 on a power play right now? I mean, I feel like this is the special team series.
A little bit. I mean, but to be fair though, Jim, if you think about it, games basically 2, 3, and 4 with Carolina and Boston kind of the same.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look, game 4 you had 14 combined power play attempts.
No breakaway. Oh, no, he didn't get it.
He didn't get it.
No, he didn't get it.
So now, naturally, of course, game 5 with Boston and Carolina, real quick. Only 5 combined penalties, minors in the first 40 minutes. And
after it was a penalty fest the last.
After the first 3 games, the first game wasn't so much, but then 2, 3, and 4, you have basically what, double digit.
Yeah, it was a parade to the box the whole game.
I mean, and then obviously, game 4, 14 combined. I mean, what is this, 2005, 2006?
Well, and a lot of people and former players have been saying this. So you got to let these guys play. It's the playoffs. Like, I understand that, and everybody wants the rule book called, too, because we complain about that, too. But it is the playoffs. Some of it is, a lot of it is ticky-tack. Like, what was it the other night in, it was the Tampa-Toronto game. Who was it? I forgot who got tripped going down. But somebody got called for a slash. He barely slashed him. And then the Tampa player went down and got called for tripping when the guy fell over his head.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
That happened.
I'm like, wait, what? This is the National Hockey League, right? This
Yeah.
isn't Pee Wee hockey.
It's like for those that didn't watch the tape. Yes, that really did happen in a National Hockey League game. A guy got called for tripping and he fell head over heels.
Yeah, he did.
So I mean, yeah, we joke about the officiating sometimes, and say, I mean, fortunately, that at least didn't cost the game, thankfully.
Right.
But it lends sort of to that. It gives some ammo to fans and even media alike that hey, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
And a couple calls tonight have been a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's at the same time. Look, if Game 6 and you see the same kind of thing happen for the home team, and you just kind of go, it's just it sucks. You hate to see it, but you know what? It's just like it's coming.
Yeah, exactly. You know it's coming, and then you always know. As I said the other day, I think you saw it. Whatchamacallit, and I'll close with this. In today's NHL world, it's no longer the coach looking up to the video screen. It's the coach doing this after every goal.
Down at the video screen.
Every time. And that's what the NHL has become with every goal. I will say this. You can agree with me, disagree with me. I think they need to adopt the NFL rule. Every goal is reviewed by the Situation Room, and it can take, even if it's clear cut as day, okay, it's good, we point to center ice. That's it.
Yep.
That'll take away from these guys looking down at their monitors, because that's what it is after every goal now.
Yeah, everybody's looking like, was this offside? Was this? Was it that? Did somebody get buried in Grant's tomb? I mean,
Who's looking for Jimmy Hoffa? I mean,
hold on. Is there somebody in a barrel in Lake Mead? Oh wait, damn it, that actually happened.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, you watch. It's like the blinders just go down. Right. It's like, oh, iPad, what? Okay. Yeah. And then in some cases it's like, well, wait a minute, wait, challenge.
Yeah.
But it's 100% true, and it's like, at least they're not on cell phones.
No, it's true. That's true. They are
not.
You
imagine that if they had cell phones on the bench?
Yeah, imagine
how much more dangerous it would be.
It'd be ridiculous. Guys be texting like from the top, be like, "Yo, he was, he was
into
my goalie. Yo, it was not a goal. He hit my goalie. This guy was offside by like 20 feet."
Holy crap!
It's
talk about Pandora's box.
Seriously, but it's been a great episode here. Hopefully, we can continue this momentum and get back every night here during the playoffs. As we said off the top, we wish our colleague Mike Straw the best. Good luck to you. I hope everything works out with you. Ian, thanks for producing the show tonight. This has been the Tuesday Full Press Hockey Weekly Show. You can find it on Facebook, Twitter, fullpresshockey.com. Audio versions can be found on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you get your podcasts, on YouTube as well. Full Press coverage. Check it out. A lot of good stuff happening here during the Stanley Cup playoffs. But thank you for everybody for tuning in tonight. Chris, always a pleasure talking hockey with you. And I'm Jim Biringer, and we hope to do it again next week. Take it easy, everybody.